You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
I told you, man! I told you! Don't fuck with me!
What has become so clear as we monitor these events from state to state is that in this primary, voters are given the appearance of having a voice and a hand in the process when clearly they do not.
And I'm telling you, if they had to shut down the system completely, issue an executive order, a PDD, declare martial law, name it, they do whatever. Because no one and nobody is getting in the way of this rigged system. There's no difference between Democrat and Republican at the POTUS or presidential level. So therefore, if no one, Democrat or Republican, would be allowed anywhere near the White House who pledged to destroy the status quo system, then that means it's rigged.
Outpour that you see in the rallies, the support that you see among the youth vote is not translating at the polls.
Well, you have to read all the stories about how they count the votes, too, to be fair, because there's a lot of things going on. We can put 4,000 people in a precinct and come up with 2,000 votes.
They've been putting out phony polls one after another to try to make establishment hacks like Romney or Gingrich look like the front runner. You have to understand something. The Iowa caucus, the state Iowa GOP has a long history of rigging not only the Iowa caucus but also the Iowa straw poll.
Take it from someone from South Carolina who doesn't just get on here and say this stuff lightly. I know people, I know whole churches that voted for Ron Paul, and everyone here is scratching their heads going, hey, we all voted for Ron Paul. We don't know how he didn't win this precinct.
Basically fraud, I guess, on the first part, letting the other guy go in as me and voting.
Mitt Romney on record paid people to come to Tommy's Country Ham House in Greenville. People drove in on buses from BYU, and one of the students said that the Romney campaign was going to reimburse them. They paid people to stand out on the road like Ron Paul supporters and hold signs.
And we go over to CNN, and here's where the shenanigans start, and it's very obvious. Washoe County, 3% reporting. That's 5% reporting less than anywhere else. And we already have Mitt Romney at 1,500 votes.
I am convinced now that you can't vote them out. The elections are fixed.
Even though Rick Santorum came in first and Ron Paul second in the North Dakota caucus, Mitt Romney actually won the state. But did that win come through the railroading of the system?
A total of 138 votes were cast. In the official Maine GOP tallies, however, the results from all but one of those communities, all but one, were given as a series of zeros below the name of each candidate, meaning the official tally shows that no one voted. The system should be much more clear. Unfortunately, how those delegates in North Dakota were selected was anything but fair. The state instructed the chairman to not read any of the votes aloud.
He wanted a vote fraud system to be built?
He wanted a program that could flip the votes without anyone seeing it.
Moving on to Nevada. Paul Camp cries fraud over Nevada caucus results. And this is from the Examiner.com.
A young guy named Edward True attended that caucus, and he found that Mitt Romney was given 20 more votes than he actually received.
There's no doubt that there's election fraud going on in this country.
Votes were being counted. A strange thing happened. The lights turned off. Not when the votes were being counted, but when they were being collected, the lights turned off.
Oh, the lights turned
on every occasion. The votes that were lost were Ron Paul votes.
Look in the official Republican Party's results list. 0 votes.
Any other comments? How much time? That's it. Time's up.
2 election supervisors take action tonight after an NBC2 investigation uncovers flawed record-keeping and human error, allowing people who are not citizens of the United States to vote.
Then there are a lot of precincts, a bunch of precincts at least, where there are disputes. There were more ballots cast than there were people signed up for that precinct.
The original article dated Thursday, February 2nd, 2012 at 8:40 p.m. on Thursday, February 2nd, 2012, days before the election. Oh my God, you guys.
Mitt Romney did not win Belfast. Ron Paul won Belfast.
But sometimes we get thousands of people like this, and we'll take them to the polling booth, and we won't win the caucus. So, you know, a lot of our supporters are very suspicious about it. But the straw votes have been very confusing. I mean, you've probably read in the paper about what happened up in Maine.
And I'm fine if you don't vote for my amendment. I just feel like this has been un-American, undemocratic. Prior to voting on the slate, we should have known who was on the slate and which candidate each member of the slate supported.
But the state Republican Party planned to give Belfast to Mitt Romney anyway. When Belfast complained about that, the Belfast chairman was told by the state party, quote, "Oh, I'll be sure those numbers are changed." So, did the final tally from Belfast, Maine show Ron Paul winning Belfast, which in fact Belfast says is what happened? No, the numbers did not say that. Here's what they showed. 0.
Even though Governor Romney was already declared the winner, the numbers that the state GOP in Maine are reporting are, according to caucus chairman, incorrect.
Hey, you can't do that!
The camera thing was...
Sit down! I'm asking this guy right here. You sit down! Sit down! You sit down!
So you're about to elect these delegates to the state convention. We're asking you to vote for these people. There are Romney people, Gingrich people, and Santorum people on the list.
How were they chosen?
They were chosen based on, we talked to each campaign, we talked to local Republicans who knew them, and we got advice from them. And I'm asking you, on behalf of the Romney campaign, to vote for it. It is in the interest of the state convention.
Chris's son.
That was fair and that was legal. Now, immediately I began calling for division. Hundreds of other people started calling for division, which means count the vote. That can't, again, you don't have to have the floor, you don't have to have a second, and it must be acted on. And demands for a count of the vote were ignored.
Some candidates' supporters are attempting to change the rules of the caucuses in order to manipulate the delegate process.
What's your plan for tonight?
Tell the truth. I've been in politics for 35 years. My cause has been the cause of liberty.